I don't want them spending what it would take to get Tyreek Hill. I think so. Here's the thing: there are levels of scars for me as a Commanders fan, let alone somebody that's also looking at this as from just what I do for a living as a perspective. When I look at the Washington Commanders right now, I see a team that overachieved this past season, and I see a team that's got really bright future. But they got to be smart. Part of the mindset heading into this year was let's get a lot of guys on short term deals and let's see what they can bring to the table. Now, you've had guys that have proven themselves on their prove it deals. Okay, so maybe you keep some of them. But when you start getting into the let's throw around a bunch of assets, let's trade a bunch of draft picks, let's start spending a ton of money on guys that are in their prime, maybe slightly past their prime, that's when it starts getting very dangerous, and it starts getting into the Dan Snyder era, especially early on in Washington, where it was, let's go get Deion Sanders, let's get Mark Carrier, let's get Bruce Smith, and you're a 500 team. So to me, when I look at where the Washington Commanders are, I would much rather them. They have a ton of money right now in terms of cap space. So spend that money in free agency. I'm okay with that because they've got a quarterback on a rookie deal, and you do have to take advantage of that. But the last thing I'd want to see is Washington going out and not only filling that cap space with guys that already have their deals signed, but then also having to give up draft picks, assets to bring that player like a Tyreek Hill or a Myles Garrett in on top of that, where you're starting to give up too much in terms of, like, if you've got a roster that's got a quarterback on a rookie deal, we've seen this a lot in the NFL. Teams go and spend money, and they say, let's take advantage of that. We've got the cap space. But what you also have to have is thinking down the road saying, we've got to have backstops, right? Where we can say we're going to get some young guys in here that we can slot into certain spots that are going to be on cheap rookie deals because we're going to have some expensive players already on the roster. If you start trading away those draft picks, you're losing that part of your long-term plan while also spending the money that you've got in cap space on top of it, and you're losing your flexibility in the future. So the last thing I'd want to see is Washington getting rid of their long-term flexibility while thinking about everything right now. They should be thinking about winning right now. They have to. They won 12 games this past year. They went to the NFC Championship game. They have to be thinking about that. But they also still have to think, okay, 3-4 years down the road, when we're talking Jaden Daniels extension and max contract, well, it's not a max, but like quarterback contract when we move forward, you've got to have some of those other cheap options, and that's usually draft picks.